InvestorIdeas.com podcast.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of InvestorIdeas.com podcasts. In today's podcast, we're going to be looking at a few public and private company announcements, looking at MRMD Incorporated trading on the OTCQX as MRMD, NASDAQ Corporation, also known as CBD Unlimited, trading on the OTC as EDXC. Also looking at CANQF Medical Corporation, trading on the OTC as CANQF, as well as InMed Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, trading on the NASDAQ as INM and the TSX as IN, and then also looking at the private company Green Tank Technologies Corporation. So first starting with MRMD Incorporated, a leading multi-state cannabis operator based in Massachusetts, who announced the launch of 2 solventless concentrate products from its wholly owned Nature's Heritage cannabis brand. Now 1-gram jars of kief and bubble hash extracted from the variety of Nature's Hash strains are now available for purchase at dispensaries across Massachusetts, including the company's Panacea Wellness Dispensary in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Our kief and bubble hash expand the MRMD product portfolio while meeting the increasingly sophisticated cannabis consumers' demand for flower alternatives and higher potency, said Ryan Crandall, Chief Product Officer and SVP of Sales at MRMD. Now, the response to the quality, flavors, and effects of Nature's Heritage kief has already been very positive in Maryland, and we expect the same in Massachusetts. Now, Nature's Heritage kief and bubble hash offer 2 exceptionally flavorful options for consuming pure and potent cannabis, whether it's your own or combined with flower, said Steve Evans, the retail manager at Panacea Wellness. Our customers and patients have spoken, and we're excited to deliver these flavorful strains in 2 new ways. And this is mainly a focus away from solventless extracts. So Nature's Heritage is one of the top-selling flower brands in Massachusetts and Maryland, and with the addition of the kief and bubble hash, the company continues to grow and expand its product portfolio offerings under the new Nature's Heritage brand. So again, launching of these products was for demand for solventless products or solventless extracts. We've started to see this pop up in more developed markets, especially in the States, a little bit in Canada. It's not in as high of demand, and you haven't seen the hash sales go really out of control yet. Big difficulty for the hash market right now is there's not really any sort of ease products to actually smoke hash with right now. There's tons of different concentrate options, tons of great dab rigs. Hash doesn't exactly sit into that category. And so for some of those types of products, they haven't been the best received, mainly just because there isn't really anything to very effectively smoke it with right now, other than sort of the old school hot knife and ghetto options. So I do think that soon you're going to see more and more new products get developed that will hopefully deal with that side of the market. But the move away from solventless cannabis extracts is a trend we are starting to see. Obviously, this creates new challenges. It also is going to be in a higher price point market than any of the solvent-created extracts. But it does kind of show how the market is expanding and also how the cannabis consumers are becoming more educated on how these extracts are being made, which flavors, terpene profiles, etc. they are looking for, and really what their overall standards for the cannabis industry are and how those are changing. This could be a good step for companies, for instance, like Green Organic Dutchman, who has always been focused on organic products, where eventually we could start to see demand for organic cannabis as well. Again, we didn't expect solventless extracts to be as quickly demanded within this market as expected, but it seems that, again, the general education of cannabis consumers is rising quite fast, which is a good thing for the industry. Next, looking at NASDAQ Corporation, also known as CBD Unlimited, who announced an update to shareholders on their global expansion plans. Now, in a historic vote in Vienna today, the United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs, or the CND, accepted a World Health Organization recommendation to remove cannabis and cannabis resin from Schedule 4 of the 1961 Single Convention of Narcotic Drugs. Now, the World Health Organization recommendation and vote by the UN is the second critical stage to advancing legal changes on cannabis and hemp in all of the industrialized nations that strictly comply with UN law. And this precedent allows countries like the US, Japan, and Korea to advance new guidelines and laws towards making medicinal cannabis and hemp fully compliant and legal both domestically and globally. And as previously mentioned, this ruling opens the potential for banking, insurance, and commodity trading industries to build infrastructure for long-term industry success. And NASDAQ has positioned itself to capitalize directly on this global growth opportunity. Now, the CEO of NASDAQ, Todd Davis, a known pioneer in the industry, had previously predicted this would occur and recently added Domino number 2 will change the cannabis industry forever. Cannabis, including hemp, is no longer illegal and considered a dangerous narcotic, and worldwide cannabis and CBD markets will exponentially expand the previously predicted market potential by 1,000-fold. This promotes and advances of hemp and CBD products to become a worldwide accepted commodity, and the potential for index brands such as CBD Unlimited to become a world leader in the marketplace. Now, Index, through its subsidiary Go Green Global, has recently received 2 provisional licenses in Jamaica, allowing for the sale, cultivation, and processing and distribution of cannabis upon final approval. And Jamaica's established history with ganja now fully legalized offers a premium agricultural crop and export to unlock the value of its natural resources and globally position ports as a gateway for cannabis to the world markets. And the UN vote allows Jamaican officials to expedite exportation compliance standards and to open the Jamaican cannabis market to the world. Now, with these new law changes and the massive new market potential, Index via Go Green Global can now position itself to quickly move inventory into the European and worldwide markets with significant lead over potential competitors. Index has long been a company known for science and compliance with premium quality and has received strong critical praise. And in addition to CBD Unlimited, made significant headway in the industry by showing distribution success, establishing real estate in over 6,000 retail stores in the last 2 years. Todd Davis also added, "This is a big deal. This is the big legal green flag that we have been waiting for and positioned ourselves to take full advantage of. Now, with our Jamaican position, we will further target resources towards both cannabis and CBD distribution worldwide." So obviously, hopefully you were paying attention to that UN vote in Vienna today. Definitely a huge, huge step for the cannabis industry and something that many in the industry have been anticipating for quite some time now that that's been pushed through. I would expect to see the global expansion of this industry move up a step over the next year or so. It already has done so within the last year. And again, this sort of leads into what I've talked about many times before with the potential for companies coming out of Latin America, Jamaica obviously as well, Israel, and other very well-established cannabis cultivation areas of the world. They are going to be the bigger global competitors than a lot of these North American companies. And I do think that it's going to change the entire sort of landscape of the cannabis industry within a very short few years. Once this becomes more globally established, importing and exporting is going to become much more important than your local and domestic markets. And I do think in general there's a lot more potential in all of Europe as well as the Asian Pacific markets than there is in North America at the moment, population-wise, also general health trends that have changed over the last few years. That's where a lot of these companies are aiming at in the next 5 years. And I do think that there's going to be a big sort of fight out for the global market within a few of these companies within the next couple of years. But definitely a good step for the industry as a whole. Looking next at CANQF Medical Corporation, who today announced that the Journal of Neuroscience has published the findings of Western University's research leading to the discovery of metabinol, a patented THC-based formulation, and L-theanine, a compound derived from green tea leaves. The Journal of Neuroscience, a world-leading research publication, is a weekly peer-reviewed scientific journal published by the Society of Neuroscience, and it covers empirical research on all aspects of neuroscience. Now, this research showed that when THC-based formulations were combined with the compound L-theanine, it protected rats against the negative side effects that can result from straight THC. What we found was that by administering L-theanine along with the THC-based formulation, we were able to block several side effects of THC exposure, including changes to schizophrenia-related neurochemical pathways and abnormalities in behavior, including cognitive and emotional disturbances, said Dr. Stephen Laviolette, a professor at Western Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. Now, we started looking at the L-theanine because there was strong evidence that it has neuroprotective properties, and previous studies haven't shown any toxicity effects in humans or animals, said Marta de Felice, PhD and postdoctoral associate at Laviolette's lab and first author on the study. Now, it's exciting to see the extent of those changes, and we think this is really quite promising. The goal here is to produce a safer formulation for THC that is going to give the benefits without the negative psychiatric side effects. And this will be especially beneficial for those who are taking THC for things like long-term pain, chemotherapy, side effects on reducing anxiety or depression, said Laviolette. Now, Western researchers believe that this substance may mitigate the type of harm of chronic cannabis users, and the team also concluded that their research provides evidence for combining the THC-based formulations with L-theanine to make them safer for both recreational and medical use. Now, Laviolette emphasizes that the university research took place in preclinical animal models and that he looks forward to moving on to future human clinical trials to study and determine efficacy on humans. And Paul Ramsey, CANQF president and co-founder, ended, "We believe this important research discovery can help lead to a safer alternative for THC consumers, with our metabinol product providing a viable treatment to help address and alleviate the opioid crisis." So this is kind of a big deal for the cannabis industry in that there is still many a person who is very sketched out by the side effects of THC, the high effect, if you will, that it gives you. Many people still have a big hold back about using cannabis products because of this. And obviously for people who are going through chronic pain treatment and that's what they're using cannabis for, it could cause them some discomfort to be high as fuck all day, every day. And obviously they want to have some functionality within that space. Obviously something to test out yourself is to maybe just have green tea whenever you're smoking your cannabis to see how it affects you and calms you down. But I do think that that's a big step forward for the industry, at least for the medical side right now, and for also having eventually for the beverage industry within the recreational market, you could add a little bit of this green tea L-theanine into your recreational beverages, making them a little less THC potent, but still getting all the medical and enjoyable side effects of the cannabinoids. So you can still have the calming and anti-anxiety and anti-stress side effects, but without having any sort of, again, cognitive confusion that THC can sometimes cause. So definitely something to pay attention to and how this affects the industry in general, and whether you start seeing other companies, whether in the recreational or medicinal market, begin to use metabinol or some sort of own in-house based formulation with L-theanine. Next, looking at InMed Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, who announced today that it secured an exclusive worldwide license for iCroll LLC for its microemulsion drug ocular penetration system, the MyDrops eye drop delivery technology, targeting effective topical administration of cannabinoids to the eye, specifically for CBN for this company. Now, iCroll is a leading contact research organization committed to driving ophthalmic research and developing forward the advance of new vision-saving treatments. Now, MyDrops was developed by iCrow as a proprietary platform technology designed to effectively deliver lipophilic molecules to both the anterior and posterior segments of the eye by means of a stable and comfortable eye drop formulation. Now, InMed has already successfully completed preliminary investigation, demonstrating simplicity, superiority, and effectiveness of MyDrops to deliver sustained levels of CBN to the eye, as compared to other formulations as part of his INM 088 program for the prospective treatment of ocular diseases, including glaucoma. Now, the licensing agreement with iCrow grants InMed an exclusive worldwide license to develop and commercialize prospective therapeutic formulations combining MyDrops with any and all cannabinoid molecules, and iCrow will receive consideration in the form of scheduled payments upon the achievement of certain clinical, regulatory, and commercial milestones, with each scheduled payment to be made in cash and a nominal amount of securities in InMed, which are subject to the approval of the TSX. So, obviously, definitely a different change that you've seen for the cannabis industry. You haven't seen anything focusing towards eye drops. Obviously, that has been dependent on the technology advancements we've seen over the last 2 years, where you've seen a lot more stability when it comes to water-soluble based cannabinoids, and also a lot more advancements of the understanding of a lot of the microcannabinoids, such as CBN or CBG or any of the different ones besides just THC and CBD, where you're starting to realize that some of these other microcannabinoids could have extreme effectiveness in curing other ailments, for instance, with these eye drops and glaucoma. That would be an interesting development for the cannabis industry. I don't ever see this going outside the medical industry, as in anyone else is going to be taking some sort of eye drop formulation of cannabinoids. Most people are as avoidant of eye drops as possible. So I think this is going to be strictly for some targeted medical diseases, obviously. But it is another big step up for the medical side of the industry as we see this cannabinoid technology jump into different areas and segments of the medical world. Obviously, again, you've started with just smoking dried flower, moving to vaporization products and concentrates, then moving to salves, to edibles, to all sorts of different products. We have the sublingual dissolvable tablets, now eye drops. And within the next year, you could see a lot of other types of changes within the medical side of this industry. One of the big things that's been ignored for a long time, and one of the things that was difficult with cannabis as a prescription medicine in the past was the fact that you could not have any sort of IV drip situation, or again, water soluble cannabinoid situation in the past. Now, obviously, that is beginning to change, which means that, again, there's a lot more avenues for the medical community to use styles and formats of cannabinoid medicine that they're accustomed to, such as eye drops and IV drips, and syringe injections, which is very much what the medical community is used to. So you could start to see those changes, which is something I would pay attention to. And obviously within Med Pharmaceuticals, the development of their eye drop programs and how that affects the medical community is something to watch. Lastly, today, looking at Green Tank Technologies Corporation, who announced it's received Health Canada approval for a cannabis research license. Now, this marks the first time a cannabis research license has been granted to any vape hardware manufacturer globally, and opens up the opportunity for Green Tank to take an industry leadership role in the advancement of vape reliability, performance, and safety. Now, under the research license, Green Tank can handle up to 10,000 grams of dried cannabis flower or 2,500 grams of cannabis extract for research purposes at the company's headquarters in Toronto, Canada. This allows the company to comprehensively test its partners' extracts in-house for viscosity, fluidity, constituents, emissions, and various ways those extracts may interact with different materials and hardware technologies to determine the best fit for each brand's formulations. The research license also allows Green Tank to import cannabis from legal foreign suppliers and conduct focus group studies with its brand partners. And this data will provide consumer feedback around taste, performance, and user experience, as well as critical data surrounding vape emissions and interactions with various materials. And Green Tank expects its newly expanded research mandate will drastically shorten design cycles and accelerate product development by allowing the company to validate new hardware technologies more efficiently than ever before. In an industry that is on the cusp of some major regulatory changes, this research license is a huge milestone achievement for Green Tank, said Green Tank CEO Dustin Koffler. As the only vape hardware manufacturer in the world able to legally conduct formulation testing and research, Green Tank is uniquely positioned to lead the way in regulatory compliance adoption. As a trusted advisor to brands, we can facilitate first mover advantage in the adoption of new standards surrounding vape safety, reliability, and performance by using science and data to validate the entire process. Now, the announcement coincides with Green Tank's construction of its third vape device lab, a state-of-the-art product engineering and development hub operated under the stewardship of Green Tank Chief Engineer and former Dyson Engineering Manager Pete Duckett. And the Green Tank Device Lab represents a new gold standard for the industry, complete with state-of-the-art laboratories and equipment, including filling rooms, altitude, thermal shock, and vibration chambers, 3D printers, digital surface and microthermal imagers, drop shape analyzers, CNC machining, and even autoclave. It's become clear that the one-size-fits-all approach do not work for THC delivery. This research license provides us with a tremendous opportunity to transform our approach to customization and hardware development to create safer, high-performing next-generation technologies that will provide the power and future of the Green Tank and the vape industry as a whole, says Pete Duckett. So this is actually a huge step forward for Green Tank Technologies. Also, it really explains, as someone who works with vaporizers in the cannabis accessories market, why so many of these products are inferior today, is that they do not get the ability to really in-house test a lot of their products with different strains, different viscosity levels for extracts, different flower terpene levels. So a lot of these products are going to the market basically to some extent untested and are using the consumer feedback to update and edit their products over time. This is why the vape community is constantly advancing at such an aggressive state. You're seeing products hit the market, and then within a short series of months, you're seeing the next generation product hit the market with that consumer feedback. Green Tank now does not have to go through that consumer feedback loop. They can actually have in-house testing. They can change and have products that are focused on specific other cannabis products. So you could actually have certain brands that will work with certain producers' extracts for all of their viscosity levels. And especially when looking at the extracts and the distillate cartridges, this is a huge difficulty for the accessories market right now, is that one size does not fit all. Each of these products functions at different wattage levels, produces different heating elements, and really can only handle certain viscosity levels for some of these oils and concentrates that are out there. Some of them break quite quickly. Some of the batteries can't handle certain products. And in general, you're seeing that a lot of the stuff that goes out into the market, a big problem or a big issue that they're all facing is a lot of products coming back with warranty issues. So hopefully for Green Tank, this would give them the competitive advantage they're looking for. I would expect to start paying attention to other companies such as competitors of Green Tank also getting their research licenses as well. I assume that's not an easy feat, so I'm not thinking it's going to happen overnight. But I'd definitely be paying attention to what products Green Tank is coming out with over the next year and how other companies are reacting to those products, and also the consumer feedback once those products hit market, because I do think that they're going to kind of jump ahead of a lot of their competitors within a very short time just by having in-house testing. That's all for today's podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day. That's all for today's podcast. Podcast is now a certified word trademark on the blockchain through Cognate Incorporated CM certification. InvestorIdeas.com podcasts are also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and TuneIn. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor of this podcast, please contact InvestorIdeas.com. Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website, and this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investments involve risk and possible loss of investment. Investor Ideas does not condone the use of cannabis except where permissible by law. Our site does not possess, distribute, or sell cannabis products.